If we have not informed him earlier.
It's recording now. Okay, we can start. Yeah. Should we turn on the video?
Yeah, CASA video.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, friends, Josia, and all CASA friends.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good
Hi.
I
afternoon.
hope you all can hear me, and I hope you all can see us here, everyone. And thank you very much for joining in this webinar as we observe the World Hygiene Day, which was yesterday. And also, along with the World Hygiene Day, we are also engaging with Menstruation Hygiene Day and menstruation management. And as we work along in our different work areas, we might be going through different inequalities, discriminations, and exclusion, and also many stigmas and taboos around us and amongst us, which surround us in our daily lives. So one of the overlooked stigma which we face is the period stigma, which affects millions of women and girls and those who menstruate. And this leads to discrimination and violence and affects simply because of a natural body function, and leads to and prevents those who menstruate to access to education, access to water, access to sanitation, income and resources, and equitable participation in life. So along with the period stigma also comes the period poverty, which redirects women and girls to lack of access to water, sanitation, and sanitation hygiene. Those who menstruate are forced due to unhygienic use of products and also suffer health challenges and hazards, which directly worsens our social and economic inequalities, and insufficient resources to manage menstruation, as well as patterns of exclusion and shame, undermine extreme poverty, humanitarian crisis, and harmful traditions, which can amplify deprivation and stigma. So that's the reason why we are also trying to observe this World Menstruation Day and World Menstruation Hygiene Day, which also comes with the menstruation management, where we focus on the sustainability and eco practices of the products, which we use, not just the usage, but also how we manage when we engage in conversation, the sustainable development goals, which directly also leads us to the agenda of 2030, leaving no one behind, so that those people who menstruate and are discriminated should not be left behind. And this year's theme is taken as making menstruation a normal fact of life by 2030. And the hashtag or the tagline of this is "We are committed towards making it normal." So that has been an ongoing process. This webinar is also a collaborative effort with the Rise Infinity Foundation and Sulabh International and WASH projects in the UNICEF. We have speakers amongst us and resource persons. We welcome Ms. Karun Shaiva and also Ms. Nirja, and I believe Mr. Sandeep Tendulkar would be joining us soon. As we start, I would request our head of program, sir, who's here with us today, to share his opening remarks and few words of greetings.
Thank you and good afternoon to all of you. Parinita has explained the background in quite detail, and but this issue is a very complex issue, and even in the urban life and even in the enlightened families, we have observed that there is a lot of stigma also attached to it. So many times we have observed very difficult situations, and especially when people are stuck in disaster situation, you can imagine that how would the women and the girls would deal with menstrual problem. Forget about the hygiene. Managing the menstrual cycle itself becomes so difficult in emergency situations to respond to that. Yeah. So that's one, and as a lot of information and understanding around this is prevalent in the society. Like when you are menstruating, you cannot go to the temple, you cannot go to the kitchen, you cannot go XYZ and all, you cannot touch the statue. So the social stigma attached to it is so high, and that clubbed with in a situation where things are not normal. Even in normal, the life is very complicated. but in not so normal situations, we can imagine the difficulties and challenges of uh, 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 sisters and mothers and daughters who are menstruating and how to deal with that. So that's one way. Another thing is which she talked about is about the poverty. While many of the benefits and entitlements to these people are not reaching because of the social stigma, and that leads to a lot of trauma also. So this is one important here. Poverty is another very significant term because it generates which takes the makes the matter much more complex. Accessibility to good materials and all. I am also aware in situations where people have used sacks and dirty clothes and all during this period, and even they had suffered very very difficult diseases and problems, and even it has led to maggots, etc. And that's the kind of situation our sisters and mothers are undergoing, and a large amount of awareness is very, very necessary. We have been talking about awareing people and in different programs around different social and political issues and all, but somehow or other, I think we have placed less emphasis on the menstrual issue, menstrual hygiene and management issues and all. So it is very important because it's also a social issue. It is linked with the society. So it is also very important that in addition to addressing the issue with the community directly, it is also important to engage the larger community in better awareness and acceptance, so that this problem is of dignity. The problem is also a rights problem. We can also see this from a human rights perspective, and hence the whole understanding and the policy environment and the affordability issues and all these things have to be taken into consideration, and its holistic perspective, so that we address this problem comprehensively. I know it's not a short-term problem and we cannot achieve it in a year or so, but this practice of now this understanding, this awareness that this is important and this is very significant, and we keep people engaged, we increase people's engagement in this whole process, is going to do good to all of us in the society. So I will not take much of time, and I am very grateful and thankful to our guest speakers, Mrs. Karan, then Mr. Sandeep, who is joined or may be joining, I'm not sure, and Nirja ji. So all three of you are very, very welcome, and we are extremely grateful for you to providing this valuable time. And I hand over further to my colleagues to take the process forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving us a detailed experience of how menstrual stigma or period stigma has been influencing more at the community level and also different levels, and also for emphasizing mostly on the holistic approach of addressing menstrual hygiene and management, which also brings us to our objective for this webinar today, which is which we wanted to raise awareness about the challenges regarding the access to menstrual products, and also education about menstruation and period-friendly sanitation facilities, that is water supply in schools, toilets, bathrooms, etc. and contributing towards building a world where no one is left behind by 2030 and where no one is discriminated just because they menstruate. To reflect more on these objectives and for menstruation hygiene and management, we have our resource persons for today, and I would invite Ms. Karan Shaiva, who is the Chief Impact Officer and MD of IDBRO Impact Solutions and the Managing Trustee of Rise Infinity Foundation and Governing Council of MahaPiconet. She will give us about the current status and initiatives of maintaining hygiene while we are thinking about menstruation and addressing the whole issue. Over to you, ma'am. And before that, may I please request everyone to please kindly mute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this invitation. I need to thank Josiah especially for thinking of us. And please believe me, sir, this is not about taking time out. This is our work. Yeah, doing this is actually our work. So there is no question of us not being a part of something as important as this. And the kind of work that CASA is doing, I think for us, it's a great privilege to be able to reach out to all your team members and take the message of what we are doing right now. So thank you for the opportunity for us to continue working together. I think just to kind of briefly give a little bit of background, because that's also what kind of leads to why are we celebrating this or why are we working on this day and how are we doing it together. So as was mentioned, I'm part of MahaPiconet and CASA is a MahaPiconet member as well. This is a coalition of NGOs. Today we have over 160 NGOs across every single district of Maharashtra who are working on disaster relief and response. But more importantly, now moving towards working on planning and preparedness. Yeah. So I think that's just to give a slight context as to why. And of course, this is a coalition that has been convened by UNICEF Maharashtra. And we are very pleased to be working on this particular topic along with the UNICEF Maharashtra, WASH Coalition. That is another initiative of theirs. Why? Because there is a lot of synergy, right? We will talk about menstruation and, emergencies, as Sir also just now kind of alluded to that fact, and how we realized this during the pandemic as well, in terms when we were, doing all our various initiatives, how this became such a critical part of the kind of support that we needed to give to communities and households. Please note, I did not say support to women. I said communities and households. Why? Because a woman is a part of a household and part of a community. If we do not support and we do not give her the right kind of space to be able to feel safe while she's menstruating, then that repercussion is also on the household and also in communities. And that is why today we are celebrating this day. Many people tend to ask us that, these are things we should be worried about every day of the year. Why do we have to have special days? We actually did a session, on Saturday for teachers. That's part of another initiative of ours called Teachers for Change, which came out of the Nobel Prize Teachers Summit. And this was the same thing I mentioned over there, maybe slightly differently, but still, that while it is an important thing for us to work right around the year, and which we do, it is more to make those people who are not aware of it to really recognize it, right? Of course, there I gave the example a little differently. As I said, you know what, we all live right through 365 days, but we still remember our birthdays and celebrate it, right, with everybody. So why not, when it is an important issue like this? Why should we not have a day like this to make everybody else aware of it? Those who are not working on it, especially, to kind of think about this a little more deeply and examine it, so that how does it apply in their lives? How does it apply in their work? And how does it apply in their communities and households, right? So that is really why you have a day like this, to make them create awareness in a much more deeper and wider manner than those who are working on it. And, the tagline for this year saying we are committed, I think kind of brings home that fact, right? That we are working right through the year. We are definitely already committed. But beyond our commitment, can we bring others also to say the same thing and say, we are committed? So I think there are two parts to this. One is an external and one is an internal. And I will again talk more about what are the different ways. But I think, one, as I said, externally, how do we bring in more and more stakeholders? How do we create more awareness around this? How do we kind of get rid of the whole period poverty issue and the stigmas that are there around it and the taboos, right? And unfortunately, as again Sir said, this is something that is long term. However, there is a lot of short-term gains to be had as well. There are a lot of low-hanging fruits that we can definitely do. And this really starts internally. Each one of us are associated with this. And this is not about a woman's problem, as I said, when I started itself. Every man has either a sister, a mother, a wife, a daughter, some woman who they are associated with, or were, right? And I must share this small story which I found amazing. So a friend of mine who just met over the weekend, and I was telling her that we are doing this. And this is what I think every one of us need to do. We need to create awareness or talk about this at every moment that we get, with every single person, because everyone is affected by it. And she said, you know what, Kiran, I really don't know whether I did the right thing or wrong thing, or whether I did it the proper way or not. But I told my son about menstruation when he was just 7 years old. Can you believe this? Just 7 years old. I was shocked. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So what did you do and how did you tell this? And this is what, there is so much of age appropriate material everywhere that we do not have to flinch to talk about it. Very often people, are so shy, they look away. And, there are many experts who are going to talk about this. So I'm not going to spend time on things that people do better than me. Those are the things I will leave to them do. But maybe I will talk about some of the things that hopefully we have been doing and, how we have experienced it. And so she said, I explained to him that there are some days in the month and every single month where mommy feels not very comfortable because blood comes out of her body. And, the child was, stunned, and first initially obviously worried, and she explained, and she said, no, that, it is very normal for all women to have this, but, during those days, you can't jump on mommy and, and mommy cannot run around and play with you sometimes because I don't feel well and everything. And she reassured him that, I am fine after those 4 days. There is nothing abnormal about it or whatever. And all women have this. And, a 7-year-old, right? And she says, believe me, now he takes care of me. That whenever I say, oh, I'm not feeling too well, he'll say, oh, is it those 4 days? Is it, mama? Like that kind. So imagine if a 7-year-old child can be sensitized to feel that, okay, there are special needs. And it's not necessary that those special needs are to say that they are weak, that women is weak at those days and therefore they cannot do. No, but every woman has a different way of, goes through those days in different ways, right? And have different needs. So therefore, we have to recognize that, and that's really what I would like to say. That creating awareness is every single person's duty, right? Being sensitive is even more importantly every single person's duty. Even if you can't create awareness, even if you are just sensitive to it, I think is more than enough to start the process. And those are, as I said, low-hanging fruit. It can start right now. If everyone today on this call, we have 77 people, says that, you know what, I'm going to go and find out, somebody in my household, somebody in my community, somebody in my building who I'm going to talk to, we've already reached so many more people. So I think that's my first thing to talk about that. The second is, about menstrual health, right? As I said, this just example that, maybe during those times we are not very healthy, etc., or not very much up to, being for physical activity, etc. But what does health mean, right? There are different aspects to menstrual health. And those, again, as I said, the experts in the room are going to talk about that a lot more. But we need to be able to differentiate this is healthy. Actually, it's the reverse. We tend to think of menstrual as something that is dirty, something that is, kind of not to be discussed, and something that, in reality, it is healthy because that's how mankind has, continued, right? creation will only happen when we have menstruation. When in fact not having menstruation is going to be a problem for us, which is what is actually happening. And I was again talking to another doctor who again coincidentally, see, this is what happens when you talk more. I knew the person was a doctor, but what I did not know was he is a sexologist. And I was really surprised. I was like, oh my gosh, just look at that, right? But because I started to talk about Menstrual Hygiene Day, he said, Karan, yes, of course I know about this. I'm like, oh my gosh, imagine I know you from so long and I never ever knew that you were a sexologist, right? So he started saying the same thing and telling me that the amount of infertility and issues are so much now among couples. Why? Right? So menstrual health, if you do not take care of yourself, what is the result? I think we need to think of this as a very big issue because it is affecting mankind. And literally now I want to use the word man, just not humankind, but even mankind, right? So we need to understand more about menstrual health, about it, and do more about it, obviously. Menstrual rights, right? I think again here, we all know about the stigma, the issues that are attached to it. I mean, how are we treating women just because they're menstrual? And that too in today's day and age, 21st century. We have got rid, luckily, of a lot of different kinds of taboos and misconceptions in society around many other issues have kind of been at least tackled, but we are still struggling with this one. Still. And it is unbelievable because most people are educated, they go through college, they learn these things, and yet we seem to have no understanding of it. That when we go back home and we have a lady who's menstruating at home, we start treating her differently. I think this is really, really sad. And therefore, menstrual rights, all the initiatives around that should be definitely something that we should think about. Then menstrual equity. I think for me, this has actually two connotations. One is the typical connotation of talking about, how we need to make sure access is available, that, people are not discriminated, etc. All those things are there. But I also want to say one more thing. This is not just a woman's problem, right? It is also men who have got to be involved and understand this. That's when, because unfortunately, most of our decision makers in most of our government departments, in most of our schemes and programs are who? Men. And so if decisions are going to be made that affect women's health, then we need to make sure that they are adequately aware, understood, and taking the right kind of decisions for women's health, right? The next I would like to talk about is sustainable menstruation. I think this, again, is something we just don't equate menstruation with climate. We just don't think of that correlation. In fact, one of the things that we, and this I'm talking of as the Rise Infinity Foundation and IDO does, is we constantly talk about the SDGs from a point of view of the intersection, the linkages between the SDGs. We tend to think in silos, 17 silos. We tend to design our programs in those 17 silos. We tend to get funding for our programs in those 17 silos. Whereas the reality is that they're all interlinked. All of them are interlinked, right? In fact, I like to give this analogy that it's this tightly woven woolen ball of all different colors of wool. Have you ever seen when wool gets entwined, how it looks, or when thread gets entwined? That's exactly what the SDGs are about. And that is why the impact of improper, unhealthy menstrual habits can have a huge impact on our environment. And so if we do not, again, take care of menstrual education, menstrual health, menstrual rights, menstrual equity, we cannot have sustainable menstruation. Yeah. We also touched about, menstrual health and hygiene during emergencies, something we learned during the pandemic, how difficult it was and what are the kind of issues that come up. And that is why preparedness, it's not enough. And that is why as MahaPecoNet, we have the 4 thematics, out of which one of which is wash and hygiene. But then also we have the whole cycle that we want to work on, which moves away from only a focus on relief and recovery to planning and preparedness as well. How can we plan and prepare in advance so that in an emergency, women are not left to fend for themselves or do not find themselves in embarrassing situations, difficult situations, unhealthy situations? What can we do about that, right? And then, of course, when we talk of menstruation, we tend to think of young girls, we think of women, but we forget that there is also a category of women who have, finished, who are in menopause. How do we help those women? We should not forget them. When we talk on the SDGs, we talk about no one being left behind. How do we ensure that no one is actually being left behind, including women who are no longer menstruating, but who have gone through their menopause? And that's again another big issue. And the last but not the least, and I do not want to kind of take more time, I know I've already gone beyond my time limit, but it's also about LGBT, right? How do we look at this as a gender issue, right? Or beyond the gender issue, and how do we take everybody with us so we make sure those problems are also resolved? And again, this was a lesson that I learned personally only during the pandemic. And this is the sad part, which is why we need constant awareness and education. Because sometimes we think we understand issues, we think we know all about it, but the reality is that there is a lot more to be done. There's a lot more to be learned. And I invite each and every one of you for us to all do this together because we are committed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karan ma'am. Thank you so much for emphasizing more on how do we understand it as not just a women's issue, but also engaging men and communities and households specifically, and at the same time focusing on the other sexual identities, LGBTQIA+, and also encouraging us for eco-friendly practices and sustainable management. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. At this time, we also welcome Mr. Sandeep Tendulkar, who has joined us. Thank you for joining us, sir, and we would listen to you shortly. And now we have Ms. Nirja Bhatnagar. She would give us a reflection on equitable menstrual hygiene management and the programs, and also share a little bit about the research and findings which she has done and experienced. And she is the National Director for Program Policy and Advocacy for the Sulabh International Social Service Organization. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Parinita. Thank you, CASA team for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. Hi, Karan. It was good hearing you on this platform. Yeah, I mean, a lot has been spoken. Jen G spoke a lot. I was very happy hearing from a man such a great insight, like, very deeper insight he came out with. So yes, and Karen, like, a lot has been spoken about it. And this is all what this both of them, and including Parinita, what she spoke. I mean, these are the things we'll have to dwell upon. There's nothing new which is going to come out, even if we do research and even if we do the survey. What things are coming out, if you're going to see, I would phrase it in a way that, like, wherever urban, rural, tribal, non-tribal, including all the intersectionalities, like, disability, poverty, everything, if we unveil those layers, I come down to saying one sentence that period poverty basically makes women more poorer. This is one, like, I have come to understand that because our society is such, the structure of the society is such, I would say, that controlling, patriarchal mean, no way I'm saying that men are not understanding and men are not there in this struggle. There are. So patriarchy is basically a mindset. So please, my men friends here, don't take it that way. It's all about ideology and it's all about mindset. I have many male friends who are non-patriarchal, and I have many women friends who are very patriarchal. So it goes like this. Okay, so when I'm saying patriarchy, I mean that, like, this subjugation, this subordination, and everything. Let me tell you, honestly speaking, when we visited around 10 states, 2 more states I have to visit. 10 states, everything what is coming out is from this subjugation and from this subordination. So that is why I'll come out from the perspective of rights. Okay, how from a human right perspective, we are looking at menstrual hygiene, how we are looking at menstrual health. And from there, how can we derive a good management solution to this menstrual issue? I would say, I mean, I cannot not say that. Imagine if men would have menstruated, the whole system would have been so different. You know, this menstruation, the provisions, this menstrual health, everything would have included into policy so beautifully. It would have been celebrated that they are contributing to mankind, they are taking ahead the mankind. But because it's a women's issue, it is in such a hush hush thing that women are also conditioned to think it that way. 90% of the problem of women not able to take care, or girls they don't understand, is that the mothers they don't know, mothers they don't believe in teaching their children. I mean, what are the sources from where a girl or a child will learn about menstrual hygiene? Through friends in the school, the parents, mother, aunt, anybody. But the family, sometimes, not sometimes, in such issues I will say that we have come to understand that family has become the biggest challenge. Who has not given this knowledge to these girls? Had the family or the mother or the women member or the father member would have given this understanding, this knowledge about this menstrual hygiene, and if they would not have taken it as normal as a monthly occurrences. You know, menstruation is basically a monthly occurrences which happens to adolescent and women who before menopause, and it happens to healthy girls, it happens to healthy women, menstruation. So it is from that point of view we should take it, that menstruation happens to healthy girls. Because whenever menstruate, we have been to villages. I remember in Chhattisgarh and all that, women they said that madam मुझको थोड़ा बताइए कि मेरी बेटी को, she is 14 years old और उसको अभी तक menses नहीं आ रहे हैं. So it means she's not a healthy. It means that health has to be taken. So another point of understanding it very positively is that it happens to very healthy adolescent girls and healthy women. So if menstruation is happening, means that particular girl or particular women is healthy in her life. So that's another way we will have to take it. So these monthly occurrences, yes, I will everything has been spoken in every literature by the every speaker, and so much that I'll put them into hashtags, like this water, this sanitation, this toilets, menstrual produce, all those things. But when you come from the rights perspective, you will look at mostly the dignity part of women. The most indignified thing when it happens, that girls are kept out of the house. That for those 3 days, those 4 days, girls are kept outside the house. We all know we are not supposed to. My grandmother never used to allow me to go to the puja room. Don't touch achar, don't do all these kind of things. And so that is somewhere it hurts your confidence, that am I suffering from some kind of a huge disease, that I'm not supposed to be coming in public. In Maharashtra and in many parts, in many northern states also, I would say that uh, menstrual huts are being, in fact, promoted by celebrities. That is one thing we'll have to be very careful, because this menstrual hut, that girl or a woman will remain in that hut without toilet, without provision of water there, because she is menstruating. It's all the more we are adding to her health issues there. So how we are, these stigmas has to be tackled. And Jayan sir and Karen, Parinita, all three of you put it very correctly. Nothing will work here except the awareness and accept the training and accept reaching out to a very targeted audience. I would say that first we should reach out to the first stakeholders where the girl first get exposed to are the parents, are the sisters, are the mothers, are the teachers. There are schools in where the women teachers are not there and girls are not able to say that they are menstruating. The girls are not comfortable, they drop out. I mean, dropping out, as you rightly put, that it impacts their livelihood, it increases their vulnerability, it increases their cases of being a victim of domestic violence. Because if she's not educated, she will not be able to learn her livelihood. If she's not able to earn her livelihood, then all the more violence on her. So, how are we looking at it? Such an issue which is healthy. The occurrences of menstruation is healthy. Why it has to be wrapped up into a packet and why it has to be wrapped up in the name of a custom and the name of the religion and inflict more exclusion to women. It's a very exclusionary practice, and it only happens to any, and in our country or wherever. In fact, I have seen even in South Africa, if you go to Ghana and Kenya and Zambia, the most interior tribal people are also into that kind of a practice of not telling about this to anybody. They think that using the banana leaf as a menstrual product is okay. It's very natural. It can be disposed of. When we started talking about the environmental friendly disposal of menstrual absorbents, because Sulabh International Organization, there we don't promote sanitary napkins. We are promoting health and hygiene. We are promoting sanitation, health, and hygiene. Let them use whatever they are using. They are using cloths, they are using anything, but has to be healthy. It has to be environmental friendly. So I mean, for them to give this kind of a produce and tell them that you have to use this. Again, the question comes of affordability, accessibility, and affordability, accessibility, and there is one more A here which I'm forgetting. Availability. I mean, during this lockdown time, when women were walking to their native places, I remember those days. I worked in Dharavi when Dharavi was the hot spot in the world map on the pandemic, and girls were walking without any provision for their sanitary menstrual products, and girls were using those days newspapers. They were walking miles and miles using newspapers. I have seen, we have witnessed in Haryana, and that women from minority group and women from, this is all the more a bigger issue for a lower women from lower income class. They don't use any menstrual produce. They use only shalwar. They wear only shalwar. They will change shalwar to twice or thrice a day. They go without any sanitary napkin. They go without using any cloth. Can we understand? There is a PVTG community in Orissa. They don't allow girls to walk those days. She has to just on the ground. She has to just put a leaf, banana leaf, and she has to sit on that without using any menstrual product. How are we looking at it? What kind of a dignity are we giving to our women? What kind of a equity are we talking about? I am not able to actually give the complete thing of our research because it is not yet complete. It is into post research process. So I will not be able to give certain data and all that, but these are the realities. These are the social manifestations and behaviors. What I'm talking about is in practice till date as of April 2023. I can tell you this. It is that fact and that real. Bihar claims that, not claims, in fact, Bihar is the first state who started distributing free sanitary napkins, I think 20, 30 years ago. So that is one more issue we have in our governance, that we have to look into our governance. We have to strengthen the governance. And Mahapikonet, I would say, and UNICEF, I would say that at least the state where the policies are there to distribute free sanitary napkins, we need to look into that governance, whether it is reaching to the last mile, whether it is reaching to the people where it should reach, whether it is reaching to the people with the correct awareness, with the correct quality and the correct time. As again, I will say that during the time of pandemic, when women they walk, they didn't care for their menstrual hygiene. I mean, COVID can happen, cyclone can happen, drought can happen, menstruation will go on. It will come after 28 days, it will come after 30 days. What kind of a provisioning, I am not saying only state should do, but what kind of a provisioning society is talking about and requesting as a right from these states? How are we looking at it into the, how are we catering, how are we giving dignity to our women folk, how are we giving dignity to our gender by providing all these things to them, by normalizing this issue into a society. In school, I mean, there are toilets, but the doors are not there. When doors are there, roof is not there. I have witnessed those things. I have photographs. I'm scared to put those photographs, but I have those photographs with me. I mean, these are the adolescent girls who are going to the school. They say कि मैडम लड़के आ जाएंगे, इसीलिए हम लोग को change करने में problem होती है. This is a privacy issue. Where will they change? Where will they wash? If they get the stain in their uniform, they have to go and wash. There is no space. There is no private space for them to wash, because other people, forget boys, even girls will tease them. What kind of a stain you have, this is what is happening to you, and all these things works on somebody's mental well-being. You know, it is something, first of all, when it strikes you on the first stage, it is like, what's something wrong with me, why this is happening to me. In South, if you go, there is a huge celebration about it. There is a huge public celebration that now my daughter is grown up. Now my daughter is ready to get married. Now my daughter is ready to get into reproductive stage. So how either we celebrate, either we worship, or we say no. I don't know what is the in between thing. Why can't we be normal about it? Why we have to only tell women कि ये देवी है भैया, इसकी पूजा करो, और दूसरी तरफ कि तुम किसी काम के लायक नहीं हो, तुमको मार पिटनी चाहिए, तुम घर पे बैठो. ये दोनों के अलावा there should be something in between, that she is a normal human being. Only thing is that she is a woman gender. So cater to her gender issue. When we do the policy advocacy, we should first say, the first line should be stop taxing these things. Don't tax menstrual product. When I have come across many organizations, very nice of them, very thoughtful of them, to distribute free napkins, distribute menstrual cups and all that. But then we are again buying from the same market, and we are giving. We are not sensitizing that market that don't make profit out of gender things. So these are some of the, I think, issues. I think we should be talking at length. And nothing, I feel here, only two things can help. One is awareness, and second is advocacy. And how are we doing the advocacy? Are we doing the advocacy with a very good, which should be backed by very good surveys, very good research reports. Our research report also should be very, very multi-sectoral. And you know that research reports should be very when I'm saying multi-sectoral, I'm saying include urban planning, include water and sanitation department, include health department, include education department, include women and child development department. All should come together, and of course the women from the community, because as Karen was saying, decision making, while decision making, include them, take them, understand from them that what are they going through, what have they gone through, what will happen if they use this, okay, so how they will keep themselves, what will be the availability part of it, what will be their role in the governance in getting this for themselves and for their friends and for their schools. So all these things during the, this leakage in the governance has to be properly I mean, has to be seen, and it has to be put into thing that it should go back to the community in the correct sense. When we are doing the policy, see, I can't even blame this policy when we are doing the policy advocacy, because even these people are from the same society. These lawyers, these judges, these bureaucrats, these ministers, these teachers, these mothers, everybody comes from the same society carrying the same thoughts. Okay, so they would, I remember once we were putting the name. So somebody said कि मैडम अपने रिपोर्ट का नाम आप स्वच्छ नारी रखिए. तो हमने बोला स्वच्छ नारी का नारी अभी स्वच्छ नहीं है. तो मैंने बोला आप इसको स्वच्छ महामारी कहिए. तो बोली हम महामारी कैसे कर सकते हैं, ये तो इतना ओपनली बात नहीं कर सकते. मैंने बोला क्यों नहीं कर सकते हैं, ये महामारी होती नहीं तो आप नहीं होते, ये मैनकाइंड ही नहीं होता. इमेजिन इफ women they don't menstruate, and if women stop producing for next 5 years, what will happen to this globe, what will happen to this world? Because so much of accusation, so much of hush hush, we have to be into this, that fine, if this is such a bad thing, let's stop this. Let's stop. And then what happens? All the religious organizations, all these Kanun, all these courts, all this, everything will come to standstill. There will be no labor. Forget menstruation, there will be no labor. So we need to look at it from that kind of a perspective, that how much are we subjugating, and every aspect of women should not be into the market. Every aspect of the women should not be into religion. The best part to control women is, I think education is fine, but religion. कोई भी चीज को religion के अंदर में डाल के बेच डालो, बिक जाएगा. अरे अगर तुमने ये नहीं किया तो फिर तुम्हारे साथ ये हो जाएगा. If you don't do this, if you are using, I have heard that people saying that if you are using sanitary napkins, then you will have twin children. तुमको पहला बच्चा जुड़वा होगा. Can you imagine? These are the devils. These are the devilish things. It is like a medicine which can have a negative impact, the way medicines have negative impact. So sanitary napkins also can have a negative impact. So don't get into that. Otherwise, तुमको पहला बच्चा जुड़वा होगा और शायद अपंग भी होगा. So how are we looking at it? So when every institution of society, I'm not saying every institution of government, I'm saying every institution of society is wrapped with such blind faith, such superstition. I would not say, I mean, they're not even, I would not call it education, I would call it literacy, because education, some illiterate, my grandmother was illiterate, but she was very educated. I can say that. She could understand everything. She could understand why Indira Gandhi is wearing that particular sari and why not she is wearing that particular sari when she goes to America. So I would say she was very educated. So we need to understand what is literacy and what is. So this so-called educated mass who are sitting and, I would say in Hindi, जो हमारी तकदीर लिखते हैं ना policy के नाम पे, they should be sensitized. They should be sensitized, that don't look at it from that particular angle. And because the same thing goes into the child also, goes into the girls also. In Odisha, they have a very good thing, that they have given the ASHA authority to distribute the sanitary napkins. Now those areas are so far-flung area, there is no transport in those areas. So ASHA teacher comes once in a week, or sometimes once in 10 days, and she distributes. So every layer of mechanism also gets added up with every layer of power. So Asha also uses her power. Kisko dena hai, kisko nahi dena hai. Okay, she also uses her power that, when they saw that she is not giving, she is not distributing it equally. So a thing came that, okay, you earn 5 rupees per packet and you give. So the moment the 5 rupees per packet happened, so people, they said, oh, we are giving you 10 rupees per packet, you give us. So this is how, if it is left to the people without sensitization, without education, and without understanding, this is how the whole mechanism of governance it goes haywire, and it doesn't reach to the last mile for whom it has been devised, it has been written, for whom these schemes have come out. So I mean, when we said कि ये बहुत, we told them pandemic के समय में कि जैसे COVID एक pandemic है ना, वैसे ही menstrual जो RTI है, the reproductive health है, that is also like it is also a pandemic, and that वो हमेशा चलता रहता है और आपको पता भी नहीं चलता है कि औरत उसकी वजह से कब मर जाती है। आपको लगता है बच्चा होते समय मर गई, आपको लगता है कि इसकी वजह से मर गई, but her cause for the death has been not proper management of menstrual health and menstrual hygiene, which goes under the wrap of hearsay, some kind of a story, some kind of a folk talk, some kind of a religious formula that this must be happening because of that, and she suffers, and sometimes she dies, sometimes she doesn't remain healthy. I mean, if you go and meet these sugarcane migrant women of Maharashtra, if you understand from them their menstruation health, it is horrible. Their whole uterus, when their uterus is removed, their whole ovaries, they come out. It comes out because their work is so hard. They carry at least 200 kilos of sugarcane on their back, and they load and they unload that particular thing. On top of it, by the age of 20, 25, 30, all women have removed their uterus. Because agar uterus hoga, so there'll be lots of nuisance. Nuisance means if there is a uterus, then you will menstruate. You will menstruate, then you will get all these aches and all these, what is that called? Yeah, you will get all those things, and you will ask for the leave. And if you that is one part. Second part, that if in a sugarcane contractor, if he exploits you sexually, then you will not conceive. तो हमारे घर की इज्जत तो बची रहेगी ना, तुम्हारा exploitation होने दो, but you will not become pregnant even if you are raped. So that is why this ovaries have been this uterus has been removed. So because at such an early age that has been removed, it has its impact, because menstruation should continue its age. It should continue its proper age from 13 to 14 till 50. The normal menopausal age, I think, in India is 50. And the menstruation starts from a median age of 18 to 30, 13 and 14. So if such vital organs has been removed from your body, and imagine after 28 days, when it's the time for your menstrual cycle, when they carry those things, their whole body comes out. And you will not understand Marathi. People who understand, I'll say, they tell me कि मैडम आंग बाहर आता है मेरा, हमारा पूरा अंदर का शरीर बाहर है. This is all because of the wrong menstrual health and hygiene, and mostly for livelihood issue is a big issue. People can sacrifice. The Maharashtra migrant, sugarcane migrant women, their issue is a livelihood issue. So the layers are many, and in that, if this menstrual health and hygiene, it has become such a big layer. I think we need to work on it, and I'm very happy that organization like CASA has taken it up, and Joshua and myself have always been talking about it. We have seen many menstrual products also. People, they get into many organizations. I have seen they are promoting sanitary napkins. And in Sulabh, we felt that more than promoting sanitary napkins and sanitary pad, let's promote the menstrual health and menstrual hygiene and sanitation, because that is more, and work on education, work on livelihood, and and then work on all these hashtags. There's hashtag water, hashtag sanitation, hashtag public toilets, hashtag school toilets, hashtags everything. These are all have become hashtags, because when everything is also available, if education is not there, if mother is not educated, imagine if mother is not educated, not imagine, we come across every day that, so they are not able to give this proper education to their girls. So whenever they get into menage, they are unprepared for it, and they get into a different kind of a psyche, they get into a different kind of a thing. And it has been researched very well that if a well informed group of girls, they are in a much better way to handle their menstrual health, if they know the logic of, they know the thing of it, that what it is. It's not a big issue. It is a very, very normal thing if that is the way we go about it. I mean, I'm very happy to say that in whichever tribal school we went, at least in Maharashtra, every tribal school is distributing free napkins. Let me tell you this. So there we will have to talk about the disposal part of it, that how till now nothing has come out on a very environmental friendly disposal, because in villages, in villages they either they dig the thing and they put it there, or they burn it, which is very unhealthy, because the smoke, it seems, it's that unhealthy. Somebody was giving me an example that somebody died in Russia with some kind of an injection. It had that smoke. So that particular smoke of burning of sanitary napkin is that unhealthy. So more research has to happen on that, that what is the environmental friendly way of the disposal of it. But in urban areas now, if you see, everywhere we are promoting incinerators. We are everywhere, we are promoting, what is that called? This sanitary napkins, the thing they put, no, that machine, vending machines everywhere. But along with the vending machine, if we are talking about incinerators, and we are also providing them, then I think we'll be able to reach to 2030 our SDG agenda. Many stories, I think, sometimes if we have more time, we will more talk about the equity part of it. We'll more talk it about from the point of view of the human rights and dignity, because for women, this is a dignity issue. Menstrual hygiene thing is a hugely dignity issue, because if she doesn't go to temple, everybody will tell you, "Kya ho gaya? Kyun nahi ja rahi ho? Tumko kya ho gaya?" And then the message goes. So you are not supposed to wear good clothes those days. Even if there is a marriage in the family, you are not supposed to wear good saris because you are menstruating. वो साड़ी को फिर again you cannot put it in puja. So all these things have to come out, and we have to reframe this, this long neglected issue. And reframing is basically rationalizing. So in our school curriculum, if we when we are doing the advocacy, if we talk about some if teachers are hesitant to give sex education, if mothers are not equipped enough to give the proper information, let there be a televised education on this. Like, in school, if some kind of a they could give it online education to these girls, information about this, and then I think some kind of a thing will happen, and at least the next generation will come out more prepared and more informed. And policy, I think the policy advocacy is something we have to really work, because we have lots of policies. We have, as I said, the Bihar is the first state which came out more than 25 years ago. It's not reaching anywhere. So whom are they giving? I mean, it has not reached I'm forgetting the name of the district. It's not reaching in some of the minority dominated area. It's not reaching in tribal areas. It's not reaching, as what Praniti says, that caste issue, the discrimination. So it's not reaching to particular groups. So, I mean, without blaming us that we are dividing, I think we are giving you the correct information. Please take it and make your reach possible to those areas. It's I mean, a reality, if you have to bring, because all these taboos and all are hearsay. What we are talking is the proper research data, proper researched facts. So consider it, and only me and Karen and Jain sir or Joycia, Praniti going will not help. I think your Mahapaper net is such a, I think even we are part of it. So if we take it very collectively, to our policymakers and to the family and to all the mechanisms of the family and to all the mechanisms, the governance, I think we will be able to reach out. But the best I have, but anyway, I talk about, I believe in equity. I believe in everybody sitting here. They believe in equity, believe in rights. So I talk more about that. It should be spoken from the perspective of rights, and it should be spoken from the perspective of dignity. And we should, in our policy, we should take it ahead with that kind of a feeling without excluding anyone. That will be, as Karen said, LGBT community, this non-conformist group, we are supposed to reach out to them. There are transgender women too. We have to reach out to them. During this COVID pandemic, there were demands from them. when we were working in Dharavi कि हमको भी चाहिए sanitary napkin. In fact, that education happened to me during that time. I never knew before that because I had never worked with that group before, that even they menstruate. So we need to keep ourselves mind open and reach out to the people. While giving the sanitary napkins, I think while distributing the pads, we should be giving lots of education. And then after that, let them decide what they want to use. I remember we going to hostel. I'm talking to you about late 70s, early 80s. Carefree was the only brand which was there at that time. And we, all the girls, we used clothes. And we were more comfortable in using our mother's old sari because they were soft. So let people use whatever they want to use, but they should use it healthy. They should sanitize it properly. They should clean it properly. They should dry it properly. That those provisions should be given to them. The provisions should be made. You know, as it is said that period poverty makes women more poorer because it is a cycle of neglect, and it's a gender related issue. So don't think that it is a gender related issue. It is a gender related issue, but don't look at it from this discriminative point of view. Look at it, bring in lots of scientific temper in the society. That's what when we rationalize it, bring it more scientific temper about it. Yes, men also going to go through that menopause, and men also go through that puberty. But why that is not being so stigmatized? Why that is not being so talked about? Why this is being so stigmatized? Why this has come into our religion so strongly? Why it is being looked at only from the religion perspective and hearsay perspective rather than a scientific temper kind of. So let's promote more and more scientific temper here and rationalize this particular thing. Yes, it happens. Recently, there was a girl. There was a thing on Twitter that she went to PVR theater. Her friend started to menstruate, and PVR didn't have she asked them for the sanitary napkin. It was not there. Why a cinema theater who is selling tickets to women folk not provisioning for them in such kind of an emergency which it happens? So these kind of an awareness, I think, if we should write about it more, we should, everybody, CASA has its own reach, Mahapiconet has its own reach, Edobro has its own reach, Sulabh International has its own reach. I think we should all in our small area, if we come out with very well researched small little documents, and we should combine it and formulate and articulate policy about it and do the justice for the discrimination, which is not a fault of women in any which ways. It's a very natural process. So I think I don't know whether if I've taken more time, I would like to stop here because rest everything was spoken. So thank you very much, Joycia and CASA and everybody for giving me this opportunity. We'll talk more about it. When we release our report, I'll invite all of you at that time, individually and organizationally. Please do join us in this time. It will happen in a couple of months. And we will take this release most of the states wherever we have done this study. So thank you very much. It was great talking to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing our focus back to the rights-based approach and dignity, and also more focusing on the health rights, which I think instigates us to think also on the sexual and reproductive health and rights, while we also think on menstruation, hygiene, and management. Thank you so much for all your reflections. Moving on, we have Mr. Sandeep Tendolkar, who is the State Consultant of WASH in Institutions for UNICEF. Thank you very much for joining us, sir, and we are looking forward to listen to you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of you for this nice organization and nice seminar. It was actually worthy to listen, Karan and Nirja. All my points are already spoken. तो मेरे पास अभी कुछ ज्यादा बचा नहीं है, बट स्टिल यूनिसेफ के पर्सपेक्टिव से हम इसको देखेंगे तो जैसे अभी निर्जा ने बताया कि एक्सेसिबिलिटी, अवेलेबिलिटी एंड अफोर्डेबिलिटी, ये तीन चीजें हम बहुत फोकस कर रहे हैं. सैनिटरी नैपकिन्स ही नहीं, लेकिन जो भी हम कपड़ा यूज कर रहे हैं तो उसके लिए उसका मैनेजमेंट किस तरह से हो, उसको धोया कैसे जाए, इसके बारे में हमें सोचना चाहिए. ये मेंस्ट्रुअल हाइजीन मैनेजमेंट डे पूरे वर्ल्ड में सेलिब्रेट हो रहा है 2014 से, और उसके बाद इंडिया में भी हो रहा है। तो हम लोग भी कई साल से इसको लेके बहुत सारे इवेंट कर रहे हैं। तो मैं ये देख रहा हूँ कि ये इवेंट का एक
सर्कुलर डेट 12-13 रेडी पड़ना
मिस्टर जोसेफ, आई थिंक मिस्टर जोसेफ, कैन यू म्यूट? ओके, थैंक यू। तो इंडिया में भी हम लोग इसको यूनिसेफ के माध्यम से बहुत जोर से इसको सेलिब्रेट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। इसकी सेलिब्रेट करने की जरूरत इसलिए है, या फिर 2014 से इसको हम पूरे वर्ल्ड वाइड इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि इसको लग के हम 21st सेंचुरी में हैं, फिर भी इसको लग के जो भी टैबूज है, स्टिग्मा है, ये अभी तक नहीं गए हैं। जैसे कि अभी नीरजा ने बताया कि हमें साइंटिफिक एटीट्यूड रखना चाहिए, तो हमारा इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन भी बोल रहा है कि बीइंग सिटीजन इट इज अवर ड्यूटी टू रिस्पेक्ट साइंटिफिक एटीट्यूड, और इट इज अवर ड्यूटी कि हम साइंटिफिक एटीट्यूड को देखें। लेकिन हमें ना ही अपने राइट्स पता चले, ना ही हम किसी और को ह्यूमन मानने के लिए तैयार है, चाहे वो जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो, चाहे वो कास्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो, रिलीजियस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो, हर चीज में ये आया है। तो इसके लिए पूरी दुनिया में, सिर्फ इंडिया में नहीं तो पूरी दुनिया में इस चीज के जब मैंने मेंस्ट्रुअल हाइजीन मैनेजमेंट डे के बारे में पढ़ने की शुरुआत की, तो मैंने ये देखा कि कौन से रिलीजन में इसके लिए क्या क्या प्रैक्टिसेस है। तो मैंने पाया कि ऐसे कोई रिलीजियस है ही नहीं ज्यादा कि जो मेंस्ट्रुएशन को लेके महिलाओं को इम्प्योर नहीं मानता है। तो बहुत सारे किसी ने बता दिया है कि नहीं, उस वक्त उसको आराम करने की जरूरत है, लेकिन आराम करने की जरूरत है, लेकिन उस वक्त वो काम भी करेगी, लेकिन कुछ रिलीजियस एक्टिविटी में नहीं रह जाएगी। तो इस तरह से हर किसी ने लिखा है। तो हम लोग सोच रहे हैं कि इसके बारे में ज्यादा से ज्यादा अवेयरनेस हो, क्योंकि मेंस्ट्रुएशन इज नेचुरल, इट हैज नथिंग विथ कल्चरल। तो लेकिन हमने उसको कल्चरल बना दिया है। मेंस्ट्रुएशन इज नेचुरल है, लेकिन हमने कल्चरल बना दिया है। तो हमें उसको उस टैबूज को खत्म करना चाहिए। इसलिए हम चाहते हैं, यूनिसेफ की तरफ से हम लोग चाहते हैं कि इसके बारे में ज्यादा से ज्यादा बात हो, लोग इसके बारे में बात करना शुरू करें, और उसके साथ साथ उसके मैनेजमेंट के लिए वाटर चाहिए, टॉयलेट्स चाहिए, स्कूल में चेंजिंग रूम चाहिए। मैं जो ये पढ़ रहा था मेंस्ट्रुएशन के बारे में, तो 2020 की एक न्यूज मेरे रीडिंग में आ गई, और वो बहुत शॉकिंग थी। गुजरात में कोई एक स्कूल है जो कोई रिलीजियस संस्था के माध्यम से चलाया जाती है। तो उस स्कूल में बच्चियां जो होती है,
एक्सक्यूज मी,
या
प्लीज स्पीक इन इंग्लिश सर।
ओके 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 okay. So there is a school in Gujarat, that is girls' school is that. But what happened during the any kind of religious function in that school, that HM and other teacher used to check girls whether they are menstruating or not, whether they have their period or not. They ask the girls to become naked, and that is one case which is horrible. I read in on BBC. That is very horrible. It happens in Gujarat in 2020. Another thing I read in newspaper. I think it is. I don't remind it very properly, but recollect it properly. But I read that some women they are distributed sanitary napkin for their management. They're tribal women, but they don't know how to dispose it after use. What they did, they went to forest and they used to throw that sanitary napkin in forest. The consequence happened is that wild animal attract to that sanitary napkins blood, and they start to attack that tribal women. that is consequences. So if we are promoting any kind of solution, we have to think about the consequences related to that, and that is a big challenge. You all of you must be knowing that India has 142 crore population, and out of that 142 crore population, nearly 25% of the population are under this menstruating age. Near about 40 crore women are menstruating in our India. So out of that 40 crore, 13% women are using sanitary napkins for for their management. But where is that disposition plan? There is no plan at village level. There is no plan at school level. There is no plan at institution level. Even in urban area, we are observing that women are not that much comfortable to use that incinerator in society. They used to throw that used sanitary napkin either in dustbin or in toilet. That create one more problem, that is that blogging of that clocking of this drainage. So that is one problem. So we have to find a better solution. So no, I don't know whether the better solution will come out or easily acceptable from others, but Kerala is one of the progressive state in our country, and I recently read news from Kerala, that is one village in Kerala is now sanitary napkin free village. Sanitary napkin free village, Kerala, that is I don't know name. I put some. What happened in that? Very model village in our India, and it comes under Pradhan Mantri Adarsh Gram Yojana. If you search it on Google, you can find the name Kumbalangi. Kumbalangi, I just searched for you. Kumbalangi is the village which is sanitary napkin free village. They are distributing near about 5,000 that menstrual cup to every menstruating woman. That is a good initiative. Again, we have to think about the initiative, whether we are educating them or only giving the product. We should not in the position to give or to supply the product. We have to create the demand. We have to ask them what kind of product they have to use, they should use, or how that product to be managed. If they are not aware about the management, it will be again create some problems, and it will be harmful their health also. I think Nirja has spoken about that. So my concern is that when whatever solution we are thinking about, we have to think it with humanity perspective, and we have to think about the user friendly. There are 193 countries of the world sanctioned and committed to achieve sustainable development goals. There are 17 goals, and we are 193 countries signed that MOU, to achieve that goals by 2030. Out of that 17 goals, our government of India restructured all goals into 9 themes. Out of that 9 themes, 6 themes are related to women's health. We can advocate at our village level, at our school level. We can advocate our decision makers with that sustainable development goals and 9 themes. One of the theme is women-friendly theme, women-friendly village, healthy village, child-friendly village, water-sufficient village, clean and green village, and infrastructure-sufficient village. So if we really want to work on the menstruation, or we really want to create a awareness among the menstruation, and if we really want to support our women as a human, we have to do something, and we have to, we have to try to leverage whatever possible. We have to convergence with all the policymakers. We have to converge with society. We have to discuss with society. We have to discuss with schools. Every stakeholder we have to discuss, because everybody should take initiative in this momentum. Then only we can make our India menstruation stigma free. Recently Nirja is saying about Bihar. Bihar is the first state who distribute sanitary napkin. But let me inform you about Scotland. Scotland is one of the nation in our world who made sanitary napkin is responsible. Distributing sanitary napkin or providing sanitary napkin is responsibility of the country. It is responsibility of the country. America, US charges 10% GST, 10% tax on sanitary napkin. Hungary charges 27% of sanitary napkin, and our India, where charges 12% on sanitary napkin. Is sanitary napkin is chain? ये कुछ शौक है कि इसको करें? It is need. It is responsibility of our society. If we are responsible society, then it is our duty as citizen to provide the atmosphere, to give the access to the menstrual products, or to the infrastructure, to sanitary products. And it is our duty. We can provide. Our government can declare. Government is giving everything freely. No? There is a very good term we are listening these days, that freebies. So why not we are giving sanitary napkin free? Why not you are promoting good and healthy, sanitary products, and we are not providing? If we are providing good sanitary napkin, its quality should be good. Sometime that Nirja pointed out that in Bihar, reach of the sanitary napkin, free reach of the sanitary napkin is actually a problem. And another thing is that quality of that napkin is also matters. So we have to look all the aspects of the sanitary health, menstrual hygiene health. So our focus is on availability of products, management of the product, disposable products should be provided, but research is going on. So in some places, incinerators are provided. In many of the schools in Maharashtra, I used to visit some of the schools in rural and urban areas. I find incinerators are given by Gram Panchayat, provided by Gram Panchayat. But can you see the quality of that incinerator? The pipe, that smoke, doesn't go out of the window. That is the problem. So we should think everything. We should think on humanity, aspect, with humanity aspect, and for that, this menstruation hygiene day is being celebrated every year. Let me inform you about 14th century. We are in 21st century. One of the saint in Maharashtra, Soirabai, she mentioned that time. She, in her Abhanga, in her poet, she told that there is relation between menstruation and reproduction. In 14th century, she spoke about that. And we are in 21st century, still we are in position to give knowledge about the scientific relation, or sanitary, menstruation has relation with reproduction. I always used to say, practice made man perfect, but menstruation made women perfect. Menstruation is very useful for human life. If menstruation is not coming, that is problem. So menstruation is not problem, but we are that time that in 14th century she said vitar. In Marathi it is vitar. That is it in our language, or in English it is problem. She said it is vitar in 14th century. In 21st century still we are saying it is problem. Then there is big problem in our mindset. We have to work equally on mindset also. So my best wishes to all of you, and I wish for women's, and I have relation with that menstruation. I am product of one woman. Okay, see, if I have relation, man also should know about the menstruation. He should also talk about the menstruation. He should give his contribution to actually, at least he can give at least he can give moral support to women. It is our duty, and my best wishes to all of you for that, and definitely we are committed for that. And I want my humble request to all of you: we should not stop at this event. It is beginning. We have to continue this knowledge sharing. We have to continue this support system for all women, for all, that is 25% of the population of India. We took pledge on in our childhood that India is my country, all Indians are brother and sister. We have to remind that pledge, and we have to work from our brother and sister. No problem who is from Kerala, who is from Bengal, who is from that Kashmir, who is from Maharashtra, doesn't matter. We all are Indian, and it is our responsibility to as human being to support each and everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sandeep, for giving us these brief insights, and also the more on the Indian context and global context, and emphasizing more on the sanitary solutions and convergence for more initiatives and needs and responsibilities. Thank you so much. With this, now I open the floor for discussions or any questions from the participants or also from the speakers. So the floor is open now.
Since there are no questions.
I'm Rachel from South Zone. Actually, we are getting awareness, we are educated, everything that is all fine. We are getting the knowledge on this. I feel pity when there are so many beggars on the road, the women beggars and mentally challenged women on the road. Literally, they do not know what is happening to them. So many times when I see them, I really feel pity. I thought of going and helping them, talking to them and all. But I really do not know how to talk to them and what to talk to them. If at all I give them a kit, sanitary napkin kit, I should teach them how to make use of that. But I feel very embarrassed to talk to them on the main road or something like that. So how can we help such type of people? Like,
If any of our resource persons could address that.
Yeah, I mean, I would attempt. So I feel, Rachel, that yes, this is an issue. I mean, this is women who are homeless, and mostly you will see women only are homeless. In Mumbai, we see in all these signals, mostly women of all ages are homeless. And so, first of all, for this homeless women, there should be a provision for shelter. I don't know what it is, because shelter for homeless is also a provision. Okay, so these people should not be roaming on the road. That is one part of it. But if they are homeless and things are not, I mean, how, what about their menstrual health and what about their menstrual hygiene? I think that one point we missed in our discussion is that menstrual health is properly covered and should be covered in our public health. We only talked about like, you know, that all the departments should come, but public health, it's a basically a public health issue because 50% of the population is going through this. So public health should look into this, and any nearby hospital or any nearby shelter or any nearby homes, if there are, and if you can organize this homeless population and we can reach out to them during their crisis. I can say that Sulabh International has public toilets everywhere. Okay, so in those public toilets, if we can train them, take them, and make them aware that how to use it. I think that can be done. But then, looking at the population, our toilets are very less, and how much we will be able to cater to, I don't know. But these are some of the mechanisms, like the nearby schools, nearby hospitals, nearby public toilets. Because good, Rachel, that you came out with a very different kind of a problem. So this has to be taught about. But then before any mechanism or any policy comes, I think immediately we can, these are the areas where we can do this, and our individual level, in our own village, in our own town, we should be doing the advocacy. If we are serving this constituency, that this constituency is going through this, and we need to make them aware, we need a place, we need menstrual products to reach out to them. That can happen, provided, but then if you are working with this homeless constituency. Rachel, are you working with this homeless constituency, or you are just saying because you are seeing them on the road?
No, I'm just saying on the road, because they don't have basic need. Food also they don't have clothing. With the same cloth they are living day after day.
Yeah. So I remember, I know, like, you know, there are homes and all. When I say there are so many organizations, either church driven or religious organization, they run their shelters, and they also reach out to them. But more than that, I feel the public health and the shelter for homeless, we should make them aware, and we should bringing in a provision there, and we should reach out to this population. And in villages and semi rural areas, I think at a gram panchayat and Jilla Parishad level, we should be doing the advocacy, and we should be able to reach out to them. So it's a very good eye opener what you said, that women who are menstruating and roaming on the road. So yes, it's our collective responsibility to reach out to them. Yeah, and we should set a model that how to reach out to such women who don't have home, who are homeless. So how they will take care of their menstrual health, their mental health, their menstrual health, their livelihood issue. I mean, their layered issues are innumerable. I don't know whether we'll be able to tackle all those things. But then when we are talking about menstrual health, these are some of the things which comes to my mind, and I can tell you. I gave you the example of public toilets run by Sulabh, but that is not sufficient. But wherever it is available, if that can be brought to our notice, we can think about it.
Thank you. Any other questions? If we don't have any questions, maybe we can move forward.
Friends, we are coming to the end of a very highly informative and very enriching webinar on menstrual hygiene and how we should make it a normal fact of life and how to show that we are committed. We had 3 expert speakers who brought us very important thoughts to see how menstruation is a health issue, how it's a rights issue, how it's a dignity issue, how we should see it as an equity issue, how we should see it as a sustainability issue. We also talked about availability, accessibility, and affordability. We also want to bring in the idea of how menstrual products should be seen also from the eco-friendly point of view, as well as a livelihood option for women. If we produce all these at the ground, all the women at the community can have livelihood, as well as it would be a more eco-friendly solution for this. This is also very much connected to SDG. And we had Ms. Karan Shaiva, who is an entrepreneur, as well as who is also the executive director of IDBRO plus Mahapiconet, plus also she's also the director for Infinity Rise Foundation. We are very thankful for Karan joining us and giving us a valuable input. Nija, a very big thank you to you for bringing in such a eye-opening insights and research and thoughts from your experience and also from your study. Though the study is yet to come, you have really shared with us what the realities are. And this has been what we are also seeing at the ground as CASA. We are working with communities. We are trying to share a lot of experiences and try to work around this. Your research and study and what you have shared kind of endorses the kind of the need which we have in the community. We also want to thank Mr. Sandeep from UNICEF from Maharashtra, the consultant for the WASH initiative in Maharashtra state. We are very thankful to all of you, the three speakers, for bringing such excellent insight for this webinar. In the last 2 days, I could see a lot of my colleagues at the ground. We are doing so many awareness programs through various, our initiatives at the ground, because we are working in more than thousands of villages, as you all know. So, but this will definitely add additional, input and insight to our staff to see how this is so very critical. And that's how it is so very much connected to all the work what we do, not to see it in silos, but to see as the whole of the empowerment of women, as empowerment of the community as well. So we want to thank all of you for joining us today. A big thank you to our head of program who supported us, who was here to speak. When he comes, he endorses and he speaks. All our events, have that additional value, and it's been, even more a strength to the work what we've been doing. So a big thank you to our HOP, Dr. Jayant Kumar. And I want to say a very special word of thanks to Pranitha, my colleague who is working in the gender desk. A big thank you to all the staff of CASA who have joined us in this webinar. You may be wondering, why do we do these kind of webinars or events? It is constantly to remind us that we need to kind of be rooted, kind of take these issues, and observing these days make us more committed to gender justice, which we are talking about. Thank you everyone for joining this webinar, and I hope we will continue to take forward this work. A very big thank you to all the three speakers for your valuable time and being with us today. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joycia. Thank you, Kasa. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
It was great discussing with you.
Yeah, take a photo before everybody goes. Take a screenshot.
I was just leaving.
Yeah, just right. Yeah. Just 1 second. We'll try.
Thank you, ma'am. Joycia, are you taking photograph?
Yes.
Then let us ask everybody to show their to switch on a video. आप जरा सबको वीडियो ऑन कर लीजिए फोटोग्राफ के लिए.
Yes, thank you. It's done. Hopefully, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
There was a news that some